Welcome back to a brand new video. We are at 246 subscribers to the YouTube channel. Can we get to 250 by Valentine's Day? That is our goal. 4 away, so please share this video with others. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel at Legacy Politics, and also follow me on Twitter at Legacy Politics as well. And you'll see a lot of stuff here. I've actually been purged a lot of followers. I had over 2,500 followers, but now I'm down to 1,400 because Twitter's just purging followers, and that's just the way it is. And also on Instagram at Legacy Politics. So follow me those two sites, and you'll get to have all first-hand knowledge of what videos are coming out and when they're coming out. So very important things to do. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about the coronavirus, a little bit of politics today, but mostly I wanted you to get to know me a little bit better. I haven't really showed you a lot about myself, so we're going to actually be ranking in tiers Marvel movies. So it's going to be kind of a fun little video today, but I first want to talk about the coronavirus and President Biden's plans or lack thereof. So if you remember back in the first debate, then former Vice President Joe Biden, but now President Biden was drilling former President Trump on his coronavirus plan. And if you don't remember, I'll play the clip now, so just watch this clip very quickly.
It is what it is because you are who you are. That's why it is. The president has no plan. He hasn't laid out anything. He knew all the way back in February how serious this crisis was. He knew it was a deadly disease. What did he do? He's on tape as acknowledging he knew it. He said he didn't tell us or give people a warning of it because he didn't want to panic the American people. You don't panic. He panicked. In addition to that, what did he do? He went in and we were insisting that the Chinese, the people we had on the ground in China should be able to go to Wuhan and determine for themselves how dangerous this was. He did not even ask Xi to do that. He told us what a great job Xi was doing. He said we owe him a debt of gratitude for being so transparent.
All right, so he said in that clip, he has no plan. We have people missing out on stuff. We have all these things happening. He has no plan, and you should elect me because I have a plan. I have a plan to fix this virus. And that's what President Biden has been saying. And I just want to show you a few things that kind of confuse me about what this administration is doing, or really what they're not doing about the coronavirus. Because I think I haven't really covered the coronavirus a lot on this channel, but I want to cover it today in a little bit of a short thing. I'm not going to be talking a lot about it because I know we hear a lot about it every single day and we've been living it. But I want to talk about it just a little bit. So I want to first talk about the second day President Biden was in office, January 22nd. He held this big press briefing. He had this person doing sign language. He had Kamala Harris to his left and his deputy advisor to his right. And this is what he had to say.
Approximately 14 million Americans, 14 million, have fallen behind on rent, and many risk eviction. If we fail to act, there will be a wave of evictions and foreclosures in the coming months as this pandemic rages on, because there's nothing we can do to change the trajectory of the pandemic in the next several months. So look, this would overwhelm emergency shelters, increase COVID-19 infections as people have nowhere.
Now, did I catch that correctly? Did he say he has no plan? Wait, I got to watch that again.
Because there's nothing we can do to change the trajectory of the pandemic in the next several months.
There is no way to change the trajectory of the virus. Well, Mr. Biden or Mr. President, whatever you want me to call you, wasn't that the reason people elected you? To fix this virus? Because that's the only reason people voted against Trump in all these states, Michigan, Pennsylvania, because they feel like he handled the virus correctly. And if you don't believe me, look at all the polls. But even if there was a plan, how about actually looking at the numbers and seeing that cases are going down? Let's look at the numbers here in the United States. As of today, we added 151,112 cases here on January 25th. That is a minus 31.5% trend over the past few weeks. You see this in the 7-day average. It goes up, down, and then up, and now we're surging downwards. But more of a serious note, how about deaths? So we have over 420,000 people have unfortunately perished with this virus. Today we added I guess this was yesterday because I think today is the 26th. Yeah, this was yesterday. So 1,915,000 deaths from COVID. That is a minus 2.5% trend. So that is very, very, very good news. But what's happening is the Biden administration isn't even taking that as good news. Look at what Dr. Anthony Fauci said about this. He said we shouldn't be taking the vaccines into account for these lower for the cases going lower. Well, Mr. Fauci, how about celebrating that cases are going down? Why can't we just say, well, this is great, but how about it's great cases are going down, but nobody needs to be complacent? And he does say that, but he says it in a way that it's like, oh, well, just disregard the cases going down because we're probably going to go back up. And I think that that's just very sad. So what President Biden's problem is that he's doing the exact thing Trump was doing. He says we're going to have mask mandates. Everybody should wear a mask. Well, President Biden, everybody's been already wearing a mask. If you look back in July, from this New York Times article, everywhere where people go, there have mask mandates. We have Albertsons, Aldi, Apple, AT&T, Bed Bath & Beyond, Best Buy, BJ's, Circle K stores, Costco, CVS Health, Gap, H-E-B, Home Depot, JCPenney, Kohl's, Kroger, Lowe's, McDonald's, Menards, Noodles & Company, Office Depot, Panera Bread, Petco, Publix, Staples, Starbucks, Target, Trader Joe's, Verizon, Walgreens, Walmart, Winn-Dixie, Whole Foods. I mean, all of these stores mandating masks. This is where we go. But now there's nowhere in the United States where you don't have to wear a mask to go into the building, except for maybe some churches. So if everybody's already wearing a mask, why do we still have 25 million people who've tested positive? Because there really isn't anything we can do. So we can't keep hiding under places in hopes that it'll go away. And this is what actually Fauci said. And he said this, he said, well, maybe 2 masks. Look at this article. It says maybe 2 masks is better than 1. You got to be kidding me. You've already convinced this whole population that masks do work. So now everybody's wearing masks. Do you think you're going to convince them to wear 2 masks now? I think what's very interesting is that Dr. Anthony Fauci is the highest paid government official, which is really insane to me. That's actually crazy. Dr. Fauci is the highest paid employee in the federal government. He made $3.6 million from 2010 to 2019, and he made $417,000 over the past year in 2020, which is absolutely insane to me. So, what should we do? What really should we do? Man, I'm lagging this video. What should we do? We should tell the American people that if you have underlying health conditions, don't go anywhere. But you shouldn't make everybody else fall under the same jurisdiction of those other people. That's what you should do, President Biden, and that's what I'm telling you to do. Stop saying, we don't have a plan. We'll just give up. No, that's horrible. Please celebrate the fact that cases are going down and tell the American people that help is on the way. Have stimulus checks. Don't do these stupid, unconstitutional impeachment stuff. Give the American people stimulus checks and have them ready for a possible second wave or a possible uptick in coronavirus cases. Let's have a plan and let's fix this trajectory. Because we can fix it if you actually work to do it. You can't come out the second day you're in office and say, there's no way we can fix it. You have to tell the American people that saying, we are going to try to fix it. We're going to try the best we can to make these cases go to 0. Not say, well, there's nothing we can do. Well, guys, hope you're good. Let's go to the impeachment trial now. So that's my rant. That's about all I'm going to be talking about politics today. So now I want to shift focus into something a little bit about me. We're going to do the get to know me part of the video. So let's get into that. So let's rank Marvel movies here. Let's rank Marvel movies. So what I have is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tiers of how all the Marvel movies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe should be ranked. So I'll start with tier 5. And I think there's 2 movies in tier 5 that I think should be ranked lowest. And you probably agree with me. You might not agree with me. But first is Thor: The Dark World. I think this movie was just absolutely horrendous. It didn't even make sense. I really didn't understand this movie at all. And it just didn't have the same appeal that a Marvel movie should have. I personally really disliked Thor: The Dark World. And that's why I think it's probably on the lower tier that Marvel has done. Now, the second movie is Iron Man 2. Iron Man 2. Now, Iron Man 2 to me was confusing. It didn't make sense. I didn't really understand why we had a villain in it because it was really trying to set up the story of Iron Man, and we had this really random villain in it that didn't make a lot of sense to me, and that's why I think Iron Man 2 should be in tier 5. Now, we have several movies in tier 4. and this is when it's kind of hard to get into. Like, I don't know, like, you're kind of like flipping coins here. So 2 movies in tier 5. In tier 4, I have The Incredible Hulk. It was a good movie. I liked it better than some people did. I thought it was actually pretty good. I liked the way they set up the Hulk story, and I liked how they implemented a lot of the key things that would set up future Marvel movies in this movie, in The Incredible Hulk, and I did like the movie, and that's why I didn't think it was that far down into tier 5, but it wasn't my favorite Marvel movie ever. Now, the second movie that I have in tier 4 is Captain Marvel. I absolutely hated this movie, and if you follow me politically, you know why. It was a lot about feminism, it was a lot about what women can do and can't do, and I just don't think that should be in movies. I mean, it should be in movies, it should be... you shouldn't force that upon people. While I agree with a lot of it, you shouldn't force that onto people. And I think that's very, very poorly done by them. And the movie itself was not that good. Even if you take that part out of it, that movie itself wasn't that good. I also put Thor 1 in here. I didn't really like, I don't really like any of the Thor movies, honestly, but Thor 1 wasn't that great to me. It was like, I mean, it was decent, but it wasn't like amazing, It wasn't like jaw-dropping amazing. And also Thor Ragnarok, I put in tier 4. Once again, good movie, but I just don't think it came close to the other movies here in the upper tiers. And finally, the last movie I'm putting in tier 4 is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. And a lot of people might be surprised. They're like, what? Guardians of the Galaxy in tier 4? I just don't think it... Excuse me, Volume 2 in tier 4. Once again, I just don't think it really was a great movie. It didn't really have... It was kind of like an off story. They didn't really have to do it. They did it anyways. It did explain how Peter Quill did hold the Infinity Stone, but it wasn't like, the best movie ever. All right, tier 3. Tier 3 is good. It's a good tier, so don't think any of these movies I'm telling they are bad movies that I'm putting in tier 3. First is Age of Ultron. I really enjoy Age of Ultron. There's a lot of people who don't enjoy Age of Ultron, but I enjoyed it. I love all the Avengers movies, and Age of Ultron was a great movie. Especially liked the way they introduced Quicksilver and Wanda. Now, the next movie I have in tier 3 is Spider-Man Far From Home. Oops, not tier 3. Not tier 4. I loved Spider-Man Far From Home. That was a fantastic movie. Well done rendition of Spider-Man. And I really liked that movie. I thought they did it well. Once again, I don't think the story was needed, but I do think it was a well done movie. Now, the next movie I have in tier 3 is the other Spider-Man movie, and that is Homecoming. Once again, those two movies were great movies. I really enjoyed them. I loved how they implemented Vulture into the Homecoming. I loved how Iron Man was actually in the movie, because I love Iron Man. Now, the next movie I have in tier 3 is Doctor Strange. Contrary to some beliefs, I do like the Doctor Strange movie. That is a very interesting movie, and it does set up for future Marvel movies and sets up for how we understand what happens eventually in Endgame and what happens eventually into Infinity War and so on and so forth. The next movie in tier 3 is Ant-Man and the Wasp. I like the Ant-Man movies, and this one was my least favorite of the two. I really liked how they implemented the quantum realm in a more understandable way in Ant-Man and the Wasp, and especially how they teased Infinity War, the end of Infinity War, in the end credit scenes. That's why it kind of went from 4 to 3. I like the movie in that way. My final movie, I have 2 more movies in here. First is the First Avenger, Captain America: The First Avenger is in tier 3. Good movie, solid movie, very good way to introduce Captain America, but it wasn't it didn't grab me in the same way a lot of other movies would. Now, the last and final movie in tier 3 is Black Panther. Great movie, great movie. I loved Black Panther, but it just wasn't as good as these other 8 that we have left here in tiers 2 and 3. All right, for tier 2, my first movie in tier 2 is Guardians of the Galaxy 1. I enjoyed this movie. This is one of my favorite Marvel movies, but it wasn't in tier 1, but it was my favorite Marvel movie for sure. It's just a great movie. Everything about it. There isn't really anything bad or wrong about the movie. You're laughing. You're in you have the same adrenaline. It's just a fantastic Marvel movie, and it really showed all superhero movies in one. The next one is Marvel. This is the Avengers, the first Avengers movie. I loved the first Avengers movie, mainly because I think it was my first Marvel movie that I watched, believe it or not, was the Avengers 1. Iron Man 3. My sister and I watch this all the time. Iron Man 3, we watch it all the time. That's why it's one of my favorites. I just love the way they implemented the Mandarin, and I just really liked Iron Man 3. Now the next one in tier 2 is Ant-Man. Ant-Man is the next one in tier 2. Once again, great movie. Perfect movie. My sister and I laughed at this one all the time. Our favorite scene in that movie is when Fernando, or the Mexican guy, I just forgot his name, but they're driving up to the van. They're like, we got to help Scotty. And the policeman like stop him. He says, nope, just back it up. Back it up. Got to back it up. So great movie once again. And the final movie in tier 3 is Civil War. Civil War is the final movie in tier 3. Once again, great movie. Really long movie, but great movie. And for tier 1, I'll rank them in 4 to 1. The fourth best movie, in my opinion, in the Marvel Cinematic Universe is Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Just a fantastic movie. That was one of the best movies Marvel's ever done. And it's hard to rank them all, It's hard to rank them all in order. But when we get to number 1, tier 1, I like to rank them. So number 4 is I just lost it. Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Number 3 is Iron Man 1. Fantastic movie. There's really nothing wrong with that movie, but the next 2 movies that Marvel came out with, just insane movies, and the cliffhanger that Infinity War left us with, really just great stuff. All right, the second best movie in Marvel Cinematic Universe is, drumroll, Avengers Endgame is number 2 in my book. Guys, one of the best movies I've ever seen. Endgame was amazing. Now, there was some things in Endgame that I just didn't like the way they did it, and that's why it did not get the edge as the greatest Marvel movie they ever made, and that's why Infinity War is the best Marvel movie they ever made. Just the culmination of all the characters into one movie was done perfectly. It was the perfect movie. It had everything, and then at the end they lost, and that was just amazing to me. That, like, because you go to superhero movies, you're like, okay, like, eventually they're going to win. But at the end of the movie, we were expecting them to win. They didn't win. And then we had to wait a whole year to watch the next chapter in that scene, in that universe. And it just was really great. That movie was amazing. Endgame was great. Both those movies are pretty interchangeable. If I had to do percent, I'd say Infinity War is 51%, number 1, and Endgame's number 49. So those are my tiers. Those are how I would say the Marvel movies rank. And this is, once again, just kind of gets to know me. I love Marvel. I love to chat with you on Marvel. Just DM me on Twitter, Instagram, whatever. So those are my 2 things I want to talk about today. So coronavirus number 1 and Marvel number 2. So guys, comment down below on how you would rank these Marvel movies. I'll link this tier maker into the description. And we'll talk later, guys. Really enjoyed this video. Next week, we'll talk a little bit about what President Biden has been doing in his first 2 weeks of office. And then the following week, I do plan to do a really early look at GOP 2024 candidates. So those are my 2 next videos I want to do. I will tweet out or put on Instagram if I'm not doing a video that week, because I may have a debate tournament. So that's why I didn't get to the one last week, because I did have a debate tournament. So guys, please subscribe to the channel. 246. Let's get to 250 by Valentine's Day. Please follow my Twitter account if you haven't already, and my Instagram account at Legacy Politics. I enjoyed talking with you to this morning, and guys, we'll see y'all next time. Legacy Politics out.